This is ABC15 Mornings.
A Valley school reporting multiple staff members have tested positive for coronavirus. This before students have even set foot back in the classrooms, but they will soon.
And a familiar face will not be getting his job back as Maricopa County Sheriff, but many in the community are concerned that some of the same old policies will return just under new leadership.
The DES repeatedly failing to provide benefits to thousands of Arizona families in need. And now we learn a woman across the country is surprised to find thousands in her bank account from our state with no explanation. You're going to hear her unbelievable story. It's a frustrating one, I'm not going to lie to you. 6 o'clock on this Saturday, though, we're also going to find some ways to make you smile as we kick off the weekend. I'm Nohelani Graff.
And I'm Mark Thompson, social distancing from home, and I'm smiling already because I woke up this morning. No, hey, that's just about how it goes with me.
Hey, but, there you go.
We are exactly. We're inching in on a record, though, weather-wise, one that might not have a lot of people smiling. Who knows?
No, not necessarily. Here's what made me smile. When I pulled out of the garage this morning, I rolled down the windows on my way to work just so I could get a little bit of a break from the AC because it was nice enough to do that for a hot minute. And it'll be hot in a minute, too. So first, let's talk about this morning temperatures. If you want to get out, get that run, that bike ride in, walk around the block, now's the time to do it. We're in the 80s across much of the valley, but we're going to warm up quickly. By 10, those triple digits show up. By 2, 109. Now notice that 109 is going to come close to 110. And that means that as we heat up this weekend, we could tie a record of the number of days that we have hit 110 or hotter so far this year. The record is 33, and we certainly could tie it today, which means that we'll easily drop that record soon. I'll show you how soon we're likely to do it coming up in that full, most accurate forecast.
All right, no, hey, thank you. And we want to start this morning with the very latest developments in the coronavirus. We've got 2 new cases within Valley schools, but we do want to point out both of them were staff members, and this is at Raymond S. Kellis High School. That's in Glendale. Now, we are told that one of them was last on campus on Monday, the other on Tuesday. The entire school is now undergoing a deep cleaning, and anyone who is in direct contact with those 2 people, they will be notified. This news coming before those students are headed back to in-person learning.
Also this morning, we're learning that one school district is moving forward with plans to reopen classrooms on August 17th, about 2 weeks from now, in spite of the new guidelines issued by the state. Queen Creek Unified sending this letter to parents urging them to prepare for classroom learning. Here's the thing, there is no mention of the guidelines at all, and earlier this week, ABC15 confirmed multiple positive cases of COVID-19 among staff who are already working in Queen Creek school buildings. State health officials said yesterday it could be several more weeks before any district meets the guidelines for reopening.
Meanwhile, a Valley school district is mourning the loss of a beloved administrator who died from complications due to COVID-19 and pneumonia. And we're told that 43-year-old Lisa Palacio, she was not on campus around the time she got sick. However, she was a huge part of the Agua Fria High School staff there. She was the attendance specialist, and she was the first person that you would see when you walked in the front door each and every morning, and held that spot for nearly 2 decades. Her daughter is now a freshman at the school and says that her mom made a big impact.
She just liked the people, and she was there for a long time, and so she built a family relationship, a family relationship with a lot of even the parents and her coworkers and even the students.
And we're told that Lisa also attended Agua Fria as a student. This was back in the 90s, and she was a major part of that community. Our condolences to her family this morning.
This morning, the mayor of one Valley city sounding the alarm about the coronavirus there. Anna Tovar telling us that Tolleson has been classified as a hot zone right now because their COVID-19 rate is more than double many other areas in Maricopa County. And once again, she is saying testing is crucial.
that turnaround time, and that's been a big issue in regards, not just to, in my city, but also statewide, nationwide, is that turnaround, time being, lagging for people to get their test results.
So to try and combat those concerns, the city is holding 2 free testing events. The first one coming up today, that happens from 8 this morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's happening at Arizona Desert Elementary School. You're encouraged to register in advance, but an appointment is not actually required.
Turning to your voice, your vote now. It is official. Jerry Sheridan winning the Republican primary for Maricopa County Sheriff. So what does this all mean now? Here are the results. This means that Joe Arpaio, he came up short in his bid to continue to be the sheriff there. And we're going to get some more information now from our very own Faye Fredericks.
I'm Jerry Sheridan. I'm not Joe Arpaio.
A lifelong lawman who spent 4 decades with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office as a patrol deputy, then running the jails, and finally as Joe Arpaio's chief deputy. Jerry Sheridan knows his biggest challenge may be convincing voters he isn't Joe Arpaio 2.0.
The Arpaio administration was run by Sheriff Joe Arpaio, not Jerry Sheridan. He was the boss.
Don't expect a return of pink underwear or those controversial and illegal immigration crackdowns. This husband, father, and grandfather intends to run a more low-profile department for all of Maricopa County.
This is the first time I've run for office, and I never thought I'd do this. But I'm there to keep people safe. And that's the primary function of the sheriff.
And while he says he wouldn't bring back Tent City,
but I do have an idea of something similar to house inmates, low-level, first-time offenders. That's what it's made for, to teach people a lesson that jail's not a nice place.
Sheridan says he's running because of morale issues at MCSO.
The morale of the people that work at the sheriff's office, especially the detention officers and the deputy sheriffs, is rock bottom.
But he knows winning over voters who grew tired of the lengthy, expensive, and losing legal battles under his former boss will be an uphill battle. And he only has until November. Faye Fredericks, ABC 15, Arizona.
And the Arizona Democratic Party releasing a statement about this situation. And they say that they are, quote, Arizona Democrats reaffirm our commitment to protecting the Latino community from the likes of Joe Arpaio's former number 2, Jerry Sheridan, who was found in contempt of court, and will double down on Arpaio's disturbing legacy that embarrassed our state and cost taxpayers millions of dollars.
Time now 6:07. We are on wildfire watch this morning. Crews just north of the valley trying to gain control of the Bumblebee fire. The flames started just yesterday morning and have already destroyed 3,000 acres so far. This one's burning near the I-17 and Sunset Point, so be aware. You're very likely going to see the smoke if you're heading north or south on the I-17 up between the high country. The good news here is that neighbors in that area are no longer being told to prepare to evacuate, so crews certainly making some important headway there. Now let's talk about that most accurate forecast for you. We've got a gorgeous view this morning from our South Mountain camera. You can see just a few clouds out there, mostly clear skies, and the clouds are just giving us some nice pretty colors to start the day. Also, temperatures right now in the Phoenix metro at 90 degrees, so it's warm in the central portion of the city, but in our outlying valley cities, we've got a lot of spots in the 80s and even in the 70s this morning, so now is the time to get out and stretch your legs if you can. Our forecast high today, 111 degrees. The record is 116 for today, so I don't think that we break that record. However, we are looking to tie another record, and that is for the number of days that we have hit 110 or above. It has happened 32 times. The record is 33 days, and we haven't done that since 2011. So today, very likely to tie it, and then as we move through the second half of the weekend, we're likely to break the record and then really add to the momentum this week. So we'll talk about that. Plus, I've got your high country forecast if you are looking to escape the heat today. That's coming up in just a little bit.
6:09 now. Coming up, the Rebound Arizona team is working to get to the bottom of the many problems that families are facing when it comes to getting relief from the Department of Economic Security. Plus, some good news for Arizona hockey fans, the exciting overtime win for the Coyotes. We'll tell you what's next for the team after the break. And problems continue to plague the Department of Economic Security and their efforts to get those unemployment checks out to Arizonans who are in need. ABC 15's Courtney Holmes has more.
That really is frustrating to continue to hear the word fraud being thrown around.
But fraud is the excuse for just about all the problems with unemployment at DES. Potentially hundreds of thousands of scam claims are being investigated, accounts wiped out, and payments stopped. Rideshare driver Tyler Mathewson has been cut off since early June.
I've been told quite a few different things.
But he says fraud doesn't explain these other issues.
What they see on their computer screen is in Spanish. They can't read it.
Glitches.
The whole system is now down, and no one at all was paid.
And misinformation while he waits.
Give it 3 weeks, and your funds will be released.
He's on week 9, but he's not alone. ABC 15 has received hundreds of similar complaints. Katrina writes, they keep promising tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. And the next day, they're sure it will be the next day. Carla says, I have talked to a lot of unemployment employees who have all told me different things in a 4-day period. Lynn writes, I get a different story each time. They have no idea what they are saying to callers.
So what's going on at DES? Are there training issues? Are these software issues? Or are people just saying whatever to get claimants off the phone? A spokesperson wouldn't acknowledge that there was a problem,
but sent a statement saying in part they're monitoring calls and reporting discrepancies to their vendor for continued training.
It's a joke. It's a crime.
Tyler has all but given up on getting answers or payment. He's staying with family in California, but worries about the people who don't have that support.
I can't believe the poor moms with kids and all this, and parents with kids. It's heartbreaking.
For The Rebound, Arizona, I'm Courtney Holmes, ABC 15, Arizona.
And we are reporting yet another DES debacle. A woman in Maryland says that she is getting money from the Arizona DES unemployment system. Yes, a woman in Maryland, and she was surprised about that when that money came into her account. A few weeks ago, Julie Costantino said that someone opened up multiple bank accounts in her name. A couple of days later, the Maryland florist says that more than $5,000 was deposited by the state of Arizona. She was shocked because she's never even visited our state.
The scope of this problem is huge because I want to give the state of Arizona the money back because this is not my money.
Yeah, DES telling ABC 15 that they have flagged hundreds of thousands of claims as potential fraud, received 36,000 tips and confirmed nearly 10,000 actual fraud cases. At the same time, they have repeatedly failed to provide benefits to thousands of Arizona families who are in need. DES says that they are working with the Secret Service and local police to investigate these fraud claims and have made significant progress in identifying the case types and patterns to release payments to those who actually need them.
Time now, 1/4 the top of the hour. Let's get into that most accurate forecast. If you've been wanting to get out and hike, but you've just been waiting because it's too warm, this morning might be the time to do it. We're 90 degrees downhill in the Phoenix metro area, but it's cooler than that up at the top of the mountain. We have several valley cities starting off the morning in the 80s. If you wait until this afternoon, sunset is at 7:21. It'll be 106, hot evening, so you do not want to wait until a second half of the day hike. But if you get out there early, then you'll get the benefits in. Also, know that our air quality is in the moderate range. We don't have any health alerts, so that's good news as well. Check out these temperatures around the valley. Low 80s for a lot of you. 82 in Levine, 81 in Peoria. It's 81 in Gilbert and Queen Creek. We're down to 79 in Apache Junction, as well as the Deer Valley neighborhood. Similar temperature in Anthem. Buckeye also in the upper 70s this morning. So nice relief if you want to get out and even just take the dog for a walk this this morning. At least you don't have to worry about that hot pavement so early. Temperatures to our south and west very similar. Upper 70s in Casa Grande, Gila Bend, Lake Havasu City this morning. Yuma 77 degrees. Up to our north, a little more comfortable in Prescott, 67 this morning. We're already in the 70s in Sedona and Payson, but still nice and comfortable. North of the rim, Flagstaff 46 degrees, a much cooler start for you than we've seen the last couple of weeks. So enjoy that, breathe in that crisp mountain air. What a great start to the weekend. But it is going to be hotter here in the valley than we've seen the last couple of days. We start a big weekend warm up once again. 111 in Gilbert as well as Chandler and Ahwatukee, 109 in Scottsdale and Fountain Hills. Carefree, one of the only spots that's going to stay close to the century mark and further away from 110. Over in the West Valley, a high of 110 at Luke Air Force Base, Surprise, Buckeye, 111 in Avondale, 110 in Levine, Anthem warming to 106 degrees. Fortunately, the overnight temperatures will dip back down into the 80s, so tomorrow morning similar to what we're feeling now. Here's how we get there, though, hour by hour. In the 80s until about 8 o'clock this morning. Then we're in the low 90s. Triple digits show up by 10, and then we start reaching that peak heat of the day between 2 and 4 o'clock. Slow to cool down also by 8 o'clock. We're still in triple digits, 103 degrees. Across the state, hot temperatures to our west, 110 in Bullhead City, 109 in Quartzsite, 109 in Casa Grande, 103 in Safford. But you'll find some relief up the road. Sedona still going to be toasty, but at least not triple digits today. 98 is your forecast high. We're staying in the low 90s in Prescott and Payson. If you want to head out to Show Low, 87 degrees is your forecast high. Staying nice and cool, and even cooler up at Flagstaff, 83 for you. Window Rock is going to stay in the mid 80s as well. We stay dry across the valley. We've got a 10% chance of showers possible in the Flagstaff area afternoon. More likely, though, between noon and 5 o'clock in the Show Low, Heber, and maybe even Payson area. Some isolated thunderstorms look to be popping up, but they look small and don't look like huge rainmakers. So you just might get a sprinkling here or there, and you might get a little bit of thunder and lightning as well possible. Tomorrow, we get even hotter, 112. And in fact, we do have an excessive heat warning in effect. So it is a weather action day, and that stretches through Monday. I talked about hitting that new record of 110 degrees for a lot of numbers of days. So our record is 33. We would tie that today, and then definitely looking to break it in the coming days. So I'll show you how long this latest heat wave is going to last when we look at that 7-day forecast in just a little bit, Mark.
Oh, the cheering and excitement, a big overtime win for the Arizona Coyotes and a series clincher as they got rid of the Nashville Predators in 4 games. But you know what? It almost gave me and a lot of people a heart attack. I was actually listening to the last minute of this one on the radio. Couldn't get out of the car because the Predators scored with just 32 seconds left. The Yotes said that there was no panic in the locker room, however, and they get their first series win now in 8 years.
This feels like a lot of hard work came to fruition there. You know, we've got still a long way to go, but that's a big hurdle for our team. And I think we're all sick and tired of, you know, the Coyotes being out of the conversation. And I think, you know, at least we put ourselves in that.
Remember 3 years ago, we said we wanted to start to chip away at playing some important games. Now this is probably the biggest important game it's had in a long time, this franchise. You know, the resiliency of a lot of things that's been thrown at the organization and the team. And, you know, just proud of the guys to deal with it.
We rose to the occasion and we're able to, you know, win the series. So I think we're all feeling pretty good, and we're going to enjoy it and then start focusing on the next round.
And the Coyotes will either play Vegas or Colorado in the next round in the best-of-7 series. And the D-backs hitting the field last night against the San Diego Padres, but yet it was another rough game for the Diamondbacks. The Padres taking this one 3-0 in the series opener.
It's great to see Book playing well and Phoenix playing well, but get my man out of Phoenix. It's not good for him. It's not good for his career. Sorry, Chuck.
All right, come on, Draymond. You're a great player, but worry about the Warriors getting back into the playoffs. That was, of course, Draymond Green. mentoring the Phoenix Suns once again. This while everybody else is talking about the Phoenix Suns being the only undefeated team left in the bubble. The Suns want to make it 5-0 today as they take on the Miami Heat. Tip-off is at 4:30 p.m. And lastly, the Phoenix Rising, they're taking on New Mexico United tonight at 7:30. You can watch all of that action live on the CW61 Arizona or stream it on the ABC15 app or Roku and these streaming devices.
Still to come for you this morning, too much scrolling on social media could be impacting your mental health. And an expert explains that it's got a new term too. It's called doom scrolling. How to make sure you're not falling victim, that's coming up next. Whether it's out of pure boredom or because you're trying to keep up with the constant flow of information, it is a habit for all of us. We pick up our phone, we start scrolling, but that actually could be bad for your health and not just because of that screen time. Dr. Casey Nichols is joining us to talk about it this morning. Good morning, Dr. Nichols. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So there's actually a term coined for this, doom scrolling. It's a little ominous. Explain.
Yeah, doom scrolling is when we continuously scroll through distressing news that causes us to feel depressed or anxious.
Yeah, and I think it's understandable. That's so relatable for so many people, especially when you go on social media and a lot of your friends and family are talking about things, sharing articles. How can you catch yourself if you don't realize that you're doom scrolling? What are some of the signs that you got to cut yourself off?
Yeah, I think it's important to ask yourself a few questions. One, are you continuously scrolling through negative news that makes you feel bad, and do you have difficulty stopping? And two, what's going on in the body? Because what's going on in the body is often a reflection of what's going on in the mind. So do you have tense shoulders? Are you feeling a pit in your stomach? Or do you feel more fatigued or depressed once you're done looking at the news?
Is this something that would carry on also throughout the day? Like maybe you don't connect it with scrolling through your phone automatically and you just start realizing, man, I think I feel a little more anxious and I've never felt this way before.
Yeah. Once, when we're scrolling through doom scrolling and scrolling through distressing news, it often invokes feelings of sadness or fear. Well, this can perpetuate a cycle of feeling where it carries on into our everyday lives and it invokes feelings of depression or anxiety.
Not to mention you add that on top of the other things that might be weighing us down throughout the day anyway, as people struggle with not having a job or trying to deal with the kids not being in school. So probably the most important piece then is, how do you help yourself? How do you treat yourself?
Yeah, I think one of the things we got to do is be cognizant of the news that we're consuming. Is it mostly negative or is it positive? Also, setting a timer to make sure that we're not spending excessive amounts of time scrolling through negative news. And also switching our activities from consuming excessive amounts of news to things like reading a book or meditating. And if you are depressed or anxious, it's also important to get evaluated by a healthcare professional. And if you don't have one, you can go to AZNMA.org.
And on that note, if you do need professional help, AZNMA, that's the Naturopathic Association, Medical Association. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so we're a group of naturopathic physicians in Arizona with the goal of promoting naturopathic medicine and through education and public awareness.
And so that could be a good resource, even if it's not doom scrolling, but in fact, maybe some of the other depression and anxiety that's weighing you down. You guys might have some tools that can help.
Exactly. We're trained to evaluate, diagnose, and treat anxiety and depression. But we also take a mind-body connection, and we try to approach treatment as a whole person.
Great. Dr. Nichols, I think the first part of this is certainly being aware that we're doing it and what doom scrolling is. So thank you for helping highlight this so that maybe we can at least start by policing ourselves a little bit more. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.